Hey everybody, welcome to Dad, Daughters, and Drinks, where you'll always get at least two of those three. Today we are going to be reacting to the Ornery Horses by Ankudinova. I think I got that right. Pretty close. This was a request that came in from Encryptor46. I've had a lot of requests for a lot of different songs ever since I've reacted to one of Deanna's songs. And so, and there's a lot of them that I want to do. Some of them I recognize, that are covers of famous songs. But there was a description. He sent like 10 different songs, and I say he, could be a she. Encryptor46 sent 10 songs and had a description for one of them that really intrigued me. Here it's called fastidious horses. They're finicky horses. It seem to be picky horses. A lot of different names for this one. She'll be 17 years old when she sings it, but I'm going to read part of the description of the song just as it's written in the notes that were sent to me. So one a video of Diana's in my sight is a total masterpiece, the like of which I don't remember ever seeing before in my long life. It is a must-see for anyone that loves singing with unending emotion. The background is essential to know. The title of the song is Ornery Horses. The song has nothing to do with horses in reality. The horses are being used as a metaphor for life. The author of the song is begging the horses to slow down. He is very aware of his approaching death, but at the same time, he's whipping them along with his chaotic lifestyle. He knows that his lifestyle is taking him to an early death, however, he is unable to change it. The composer of the song, Vladimir Vysotsky, was a singer-songwriter, poet, and actor, as well as an alcoholic and drug addict, and died in 1980 at the age of 42. So even that description, it just really intrigued me. And I thought first I would look up the person who wrote it because he sounded kind of interesting. And if you're just looking for the reaction to the song itself, now is probably a good time to jump forward and look for when the actual reaction starts. Because I'm going to take a minute and talk about this guy because he's kind of interesting. I just looked him up on Wiki, and I'm just going to summarize a couple things about him. He actually didn't consider himself really a singer-songwriter. He considered himself more of an actor and a poet, but he wrote like over 600 songs, so I don't know why he wouldn't think of himself as a singer. And he did a lot of kind of like politically oriented songs, and I think that put him on a lot of lists with the government and the state-sponsored media and thing that were happening. He was born in like 1932 or 38, somewhere in there. I guess it'd be 38 because he died when he was 42 in 1980. But everybody still seemed to love this guy. He was an alcoholic most of his life, and at some point decided he had been having really bad hangovers, and he actually started taking painkillers to get rid of the hangovers, and then decide he could actually use the drugs to stop him from being an alcoholic, which in essence worked, except for it just made him a drug addict. And this was just the last few years of his life. It wasn't like this started very early on. But then right around the 1980 Summer Olympics in Moscow, it became very difficult to get drugs because there was such a crackdown because of, anti-doping in the sports and things. And so he actually moved back to drinking alcohol and kind of went crazy a little bit. And there was this doctor that seemed to hang out with him, and I can't remember his name. He sounded a little shady to me based on the description of everything. And he was loading this guy up with stimulants and sedatives, and ultimately he ended up dying one night in his sleep. And this was actually during the Olympics. And the official listed cause was a heart attack. The family and his friends didn't want any kind of an autopsy done because they didn't want any kind of an official record of his lifestyle and the substances that were probably in his system at the time. But apparently on the day that he died, maybe not the day that he died, but the day that they were having his funeral, you could see a noticeable drop in the crowds at the actual Olympics because so many people left that had tickets and were going to see the games were actually leaving to go observe the funeral as it went down the street, which I thought was kind of interesting. So this guy was clearly somebody that was really seemed to be loved and respected by the general populace. And then I guess about 30 years later, there's some kind of I don't know exactly what it is. It was like an annual show that's like a direct line to Putin or something. I don't know exactly what this is, but somebody called in and, asked Putin, hey, this guy, it's been 30 years since he died. He's one of our greatest artists we've ever had. There should be a street named after him, and there's not. And so Putin made it happen, and there's now a street in Moscow named after Vladimir Vysotsky. So kind of an interesting thing. Now, the description of... Also, I should throw in, because it's kind of interesting, is the last year or two of his life, everybody kind of knew the end was coming. Even though he was pretty young, in this grand scheme of things, you could just see he had been living really hard and wasn't doing well. People talked about how he was looking gray. He was having difficulty when he was doing concerts or recording sessions, and everybody just knew things were going to happen. So I thought maybe he wrote this song at the end of his life because it seemed to echo what was actually happening in his life, based on this description of, whipping this horse at the same time you're wanting it to slow down. But I think the song was written in 1971, so almost 10 years before he died. It was written for a movie. Apparently the movie itself is full of doom and gloom, which I guess is why the content of the song was what it was. But it almost seems like it was a little bit prescient for how he was actually going to end his life as well. All right, so enough, I think, of Vladimir, and we will get back to Diana. And so I'm really looking forward to this one. I've got the closed captions on. He said it was critical to have those on, especially to understand or listen to what she says before and after she sings. So here we go.
Знаете, также очень часто мне пишут о том, что люди хотели бы услышать в моем репертуаре, в моем исполнении песню Высоцкого, хотя бы одну какую-нибудь. Так вот, я разучила песню «Кони привередливые» Высоцкого, и поэтому сейчас состоится первый раз вообще, когда я пою ее в микрофон.
Cool.
«Кони привередливые».
Now, before she starts singing, it's interesting that they faded it out into black and white.
Вдоль обрыва, понад пропастью, по самому по краю, я коней своих нагайкою стегаю, погоняю. Что-то воздуху мне мало, ветер пью, туман глотаю, чую с гибельным восторгом. Пропадаю, час.
So just real quick, two things before I forget. One is I mentioned in my last video, I said something about a lot of Russian music being written in a minor key, and I took some flack for that in the comments, so maybe that's a stereotype that's false. But the notes for Vladimir and his music said that virtually every song he wrote was in a minor key, so I at least feel like I can say that about his music. The second thing, and this is something you see with really great singers, is they have the ability to sing powerfully and emotionally when singing quietly, which is, if you've ever tried to do it, is really difficult to do. I mean, at least for me, I'm not a singer, but I've heard other people who are singers say the same thing, and so I tend to believe it. So even in this beginning, when she starts off kind of quiet, it's still very forceful emotionally, which is awesome.
Пропадаю час, помедленнее кони, чуть помедленнее, вытугую.
She's definitely somebody, you can see it on her face too, and she's, at least so far from what I can see, the last song and this one, the emotion that she's feeling when she's singing.
Тугую, не слушайте, плеть. Но что-то кони мне попались, привередливые, и дожить не успеть мне допеть, не успеть. Я коней напою, я куплет допою.
I haven't listened to the original song or any recording of it from Vladimir. I don't know if there are any actual recordings of him performing it. I guess he had kind of a raspy, cool voice and tended to pronounce things a little bit differently. And I'm interested if the way she's singing it, for anybody who knows, is she singing it like true to the melody of the original, or is she taking some liberties with the melody and how she's, hitting certain notes and things? Because it's just beautiful. So I'm interested to see how much of it was flair that she's put on it, or if it's just her with her incredible voice singing pretty true to what was originally sung. I also just noticed all of these flowers in the background. That's pretty cool.
Хоть немного еще, да постою на краю. Сгину я, меня пушинкой, ураган сметет с ладони, и в санях меня галопом повлекут по снегу утром. Вы на шаг неторопливый, ой, перейдите мои кони, хоть немного, но продлите путь к последнему приюту. Чуть помедленнее, кони, чуть помедленнее. Вы тугую не слушайте плеть. Но что-то кони мне попались, ой, да привередливые, и дожить не успеть, не допеть, не успеть. Я коней напою, я куплет допою. Хоть немного еще, да постою на краю. Мы успели в гости к Богу, не бывает опозданий. Так что ж там ангелы поют такими злыми голосами? Или это колокольчик весь зашелся от рыданий? Или я кричу коням, чтоб не несли так быстро сани? Чуть помедленнее, кони, сани, чуть помедленнее, кони, быстро сани, чуть помедленнее, кони. Так быстро сани, чуть помедленнее, кони.
She's got this voice crack in there that's just incredible.
Так быстро сани, чуть помедленнее, кони. Чуть помедленнее. Вы тугую не слушайте плеть. Ну что-то кони мне попались, ой, да привередливые, и дожить не успеть, мне допеть не успеть. Я коней напою, я куплет допою. много еще. Да постою на краю.
Is she crying while she's singing that?
На краю.
Wow. And I think there's some talking afterwards, but just for a second, I mean, it's such a common thing for great artists to die young. I mean, I think we've all seen way too many people that's happened to. And why that is, who knows. But this, it really does, based on what I read about this author's life, it really does sound like he could have written this song in the last year of his life, even though, like I said, it was written a little bit earlier. But wow, that's just powerful stuff. Ooh. And the lyrics themselves were amazing. So I could imagine why, if you were going to request her to sing a song, why you would say that one.
Честно сказать, и педагог, и вообще, в принципе, мое окружение все говорило, что я не справлюсь, и что я еще не доросла до этой песни. Возможно, и многие из вас так подумали, но я надеюсь, что...
Oh, that's right. She was only 17 when she sang this? I think they were wrong.
Я еще не доросла до этой песни. Возможно, и многие из вас так подумали, но я надеюсь, что моя интерпретация все-таки хорошо дошла до вас, и я смогла исполнить эту, на самом деле, очень сложную для меня композицию.
Yeah, sure did. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting any younger, right? And so when you read or hear songs like that about people that are dealing with their own mortality, it's always hard enough. But when it's somebody who's younger and dealing with their own mortality and they're actually ending up being correct, that's a whole nother level of sad. So hopefully, I don't know how old she is now. I don't think she's still very old. But if she was 17 when she sang this, hopefully it's not, some sort of the emotion that she put into it. Hopefully it's not relevant to her, if you know what I mean. Hopefully she lives a long and happy and successful life. But holy cow, that was something else. Thank you. I forget your name already. Encryptor46 for recommending that one. That was just beautiful. That was astounding. If you haven't, go check out this video. I'll have a link to it in the description. And I'll also have a link to all of Deanna's, if there's any, social media links or YouTube page things and all that, I'll have links to that as well. Make sure you go and show her some love and appreciation with likes and comments, and subscribe to her if you haven't already. And I hope everybody is doing well. I think that's it for me. I hope everybody has a great day. Thanks.